Hey, YouTube, 300 subscribers. Thank you for the continued support. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it, so thank you so much.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Very cool. Ooh. Well, that mic's turned up, isn't it? How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's get this party started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Smoke Show edition, huh? By popular demand, the fans demanded it, and we're going to deliver it. We got a lot to talk about today, so let's start the podcast, shall we? Professor, you ready?
I'm ready.
In 3, 2.
Welcome to SuperTalk, the weekly podcast dedicated to news and reviews of comic book media on the big and small screen. This is episode number 11. I'm your host, Brian Professor Pettis, and with me, as always, my illustrious co-host, Titanium, Tony, Estrella. Titanium!
Professor, what's up, man? Titanium here, fired up.
This is the Titanium episode.
This is a fun show. This is going to be a fun show. I mention smoke shows all the time. We got Superhero Studs. We got smoke shows. It's going to be fun. A lot of debate on this. And you know something? I love it. I love the interaction. So please comment if we missed somebody. If you had a different list in your head, go ahead and comment on it and reach out to us via email, and the professor will get into that. So professor, take us to school.
Yeah, I think everybody, including your wife, is interested to see what your rankings are. So
Whoa. Let's just get something straight right now. The superhero stud list, I had help from several ladies, including your wife. So we got a consensus. It's not just my opinion. Now the smoke shows was a limited input from people, but the superhero stud list is input from several, young and old. To be honest with you, a lot of college girls chimed in on this.
Oh, I can imagine. So, well, let's get started by, like we do every week, thanking our sponsors. First, Studio GG Studios, home of the man band Corn on the Cob. Their new hit single, Animal Names,
yeah,
out on their YouTube channel.
Yep.
Please check them out. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how much support they give this show. They have been our number one supporter since day one, since before day one.
That's
so
true.
Go to their YouTube page. Please subscribe. Help them out. Really support them because they're great to us, and I hope you're great to them as well.
Yeah, they're working on the joint efforts of Tiny Timmy St. Laurent Studios and Studio GG Studios combination. They're working on another song called Bar Animals. So it goes along with the theme of that record, and I've heard a little clip from it. It's going to be fantastic.
I'm wondering when they're going to come out with the Super Talk single.
Oh, that's in the works. Don't you worry. No.
All right.
That's
all right,
in the
here
works.
we go. And we also, our returning sponsor, Preston's Pharmacy, locations in Arlington and Merrifield. These guys are the true superheroes. We've said this time and time again. Small business, taking care of the local community, making sure they get their medicine on time. They have completely ramped up on the coronavirus vaccine. They are putting needles in people's arms and making them healthy and keeping them safe. It is really the yeoman's work that nobody's given them credit for, and I really can't thank them enough. They are just so great to us.
Yeah, they really are. They've done a hell of a job. Also, we have a little local sponsor for this one episode. Accelerate Boot Camp, Accelerate Sports Performance. It's a place that I work out at. I'm trying to lose some of those pandemic pounds. And if you're trying to get yourself into smoke show readiness, if you're trying to be a smoke show, give them a look. My boy Josh out there has whooped me into shape, or at least trying to. He's putting in one hell of an effort. But XLR8, Accelerate Sports Performance. It's a boot camp out there in near Costco. A fun little place, and boy, they work hard and they put the effort in.
Costco in what city, Tony?
Costco in Chantilly, Virginia. Sorry.
We've got a worldwide audience. We got to make sure they know where we are. So, XLR8 on Google. Just look them up. You'll find them. They're fantastic, and I know they're taking care of my boy. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah, thank you, Professor.
And then, of course, the show is brought to you by you, the listeners. Those of you who are supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/supertalk. You can become a patron of the show. $1 per episode. That's all you need to support the show directly, and we'll send you out a nice thank you card and a couple of stickers just for your support. It's really great for those of you who signed up, so really appreciate it, and we'll get those out to those of you who are patrons of our show. And we're working on some things in the future for our patrons only. So
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for the direct support. We really can't thank you enough.
Special stuff just for them.
All right, well, let's get into the news and review section for this week. As we know, we've got a little bit of a break between original content this week. We closed the WandaVision episodes last week. Falcon and Winter Soldier doesn't start till next week. We also have the Snyder Cut released next week as well. So we'll have a bunch of things to cover next week. So this week we said, hey, let's cover some news items and then we'll get into a new topic of the week.
Yeah.
But there was a few things that came out this week we want to talk about.
Yeah.
First, for those of you who hasn't watched it yet, Disney Plus did release their Marvel Studios Assembled show on Disney Plus, which is a behind-the-scenes filming of the WandaVision series. You get to go behind the scenes, find out the thoughts of the director and Kevin Feige and the producer, what they were thinking about, how they went about filming the show, the ideas around what framed the show, the content. It really is a great show. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out and you really liked WandaVision, go check it out. You'll get some inside thoughts about what they actually did.
I haven't finished it yet, but it's pretty cool. The beginning is really cool. It gives you some insights of their thought process and what a huge undertaking it was. And then the production value, again, we've said this several times. I mean, state-of-the-art stuff, right?
Just listening to the actors and actresses talk about the fact that they started off this journey filming a sitcom on stage with a live audience, which is something a lot of them had never done before, was really great. And then by the end of the show, it turned into a full-blown, MCU movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which was just, and again, that's one of the reasons why we loved it so much. It was great. So check that out. Also, if you have not checked it out, Marvel did release the Marvel Legends on Disney Plus, giving us the behind-the-scenes kind of recap of who Falcon and Winter Soldier are. They do this the week before that show starts. They'll do the same thing when Loki comes out. We'll get a recap of who Loki is and where he's been. Frankly, it's just a bunch of clips from all the movies.
It's a highlight reel.
Yeah.
It's a highlight reel to introduce you to the characters and get you familiar with them again, since it's been,
remind you who they are and where they've been in the movies so far.
How they interact with other characters.
So check those out because we're really looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier next week. So this will be a great recap for you, for those of you who forgot who they are.
Up. The Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to absolutely blow up.
Yeah, we had another great thing this week. So those of you who are HBO Max subscribers, HBO Max released Tom and Jerry the movie to HBO Max this week as their new release for the week. That was their new movie that came out, Tom and Jerry the movie. Some people who went into HBO Max the minute that Tom and Jerry was released and they started watching Tom and Jerry, all of a sudden the Snyder Cut started playing.
Yeah, they got Justice League.
They got Justice League, the Snyder Cut, accidentally. Oops. HBO Max was showing the Snyder Cut in place of Tom and Jerry. And so I know we've heard it on the internet, a handful of people at least watched the first hour or two of the Snyder Cut, and then they figured it out and they cut it off. Right. But at least the first couple of hours were pretty much spoiled for a bunch of people.
As soon as I heard that mistake was made, I jumped on my phone. I went to HBO
and started playing Tom and Jerry.
And I started watching Tom and Jerry, and I was so disappointed. But I wasn't one of the lucky ones. But hey, it happens, right? Nobody got fired over it.
And well, hopefully not. But that movie again will be coming out on Thursday, I believe, this week, and so we'll get a chance to check that out and see that. And we'll review the whole Snyder Cut. Titanium and I will spend several hours staying up really late to make sure we watch it before next week's episode.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll give our opinions on it. I think were a little disappointed in Justice League, the Josh Whedon cut. Even though I kind of liked the majority of it, but we'll see what kind of direction. I'm telling you, there's so much weight on this Snyder Cut and the future of DC. Everybody's talking about, I guess, hashtag restore Snyder's vision now is trending. So we'll see what happens.
I think this is an attempt by DC to save a little face. I think, and Zack Snyder specifically, to save a little face. Say, look, this is not what I plan to release in theaters, and for lots of different reasons it was different. I'm hoping it's better. It can't be worse than the original Justice League movie was, but we'll see. We'll check it out this week and we'll review it next week.
Absolutely, as well as the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah.
We did get some insight. So now that WandaVision finished up last week and we got the finale and everything kind of closed up, and as we talked about on our show last week, so many unanswered questions, so many doors left open. We're a little dissatisfied with the ending. Funny enough, now that everything's been released, they don't have to worry about spoilers. The director and the producer and a bunch of people came on a bunch of shows this week and answered a lot of questions.
Yeah, and they did. They cleared up a lot of questions that people were a little disappointed in, and I think it helped a lot.
Well, it did clear up some of the rumors. They said, look, we never had any intention of introducing another big bad like Mephisto or anything like that. That was just... that was just the internet doing this on their own. They said we did put some red herrings in the show, like Dottie was a red herring. They said we did some of that on purpose. But we did find out there were some deleted scenes that they either didn't have a chance to film or they didn't have time to complete the special effects on. And so that last episode, episode 9, was supposed to be around 60, 65 minutes. And they just couldn't finish some of the special effects for some of these deleted scenes. And there was a scene that was going to involve Monica Rambeau and Darcy and the kids, the twins, and Pietro, who had been freed by Monica from Agatha's hold with the necklace.
Right.
They go down in the basement and they're going to hey, we're going to get this book because we hear it's a bad thing. They were going down to take the Darkhold. And they go down there, and Senior Scratchy the rabbit is guarding the book. And they're like, oh, it's Senior Scratchy, the cute little rabbit. And then all of a sudden, Senior Scratchy turns into a demon with huge fingernails, which is why he's called Senior Scratchy. And he was protecting the Darkhold for Agatha. That whole scene was planned. Most of it was filmed, but they couldn't finish the special effects, so it never made it into the episode. So there was some stuff that they admitted was left out.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard it didn't really move the story forward any. It was kind of a side scene. And because of the special effects, they cut it. It hit the cutting room floor. But that's a shame because that would have been kind of cool.
And we also heard that Darcy did not... We saw her for literally 30 seconds in the last episode.
Yeah. And
that she had not been able to come back to filming when they were doing reshoots to film some of those last scenes in that final episode because of COVID-19. So she was restricted from coming back. We also heard that they were hoping to have Benedict Cumberbatch come in as Doctor Strange for at least a cameo in the final episode. And he was stuck in New Zealand because of COVID-19. So he couldn't make it out of New Zealand. He was stuck completely. So that prevented that from happening as well. So that was when they said, we kind of hoped to do that to set up Doctor Strange 2. But we just couldn't make it happen. And, they work around it. So we got what we got.
Yeah. It would have been nice to see Doctor Strange in there. It would make sense. But that kind of answers a lot of those questions, right? Real life issues affecting our fantasy issues of having these characters in the show.
Right. And again, we talked about this last week. Frankly, considering all these things that were left unanswered, considering all the questions that we still have about the show, it still was pretty good. I mean,
pretty good?
Yeah.
Come on.
That
show was top notch.
It was great.
That show was awesome.
We did get an update this week that the runtimes for Falcon and Winter Soldier have been released. So, as we saw with WandaVision, due to the episodic nature of the sitcom genre that they followed in that show, the first handful of episodes were right around 25, 28 minutes, 26 minutes, just like sitcoms would normally be. And then we kind of got a little bit longer as the show went on. We have anticipated that Falcon and Winter Soldier is only going to be 6 episodes and that we're going to get more of a drama-style show. Instead of that sitcom half-hour show, we're going to get hour shows. And we did get confirmation of that this week, that every episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be between 45 and 55 minutes, which is what a normal hour-long show on television, if you factor in the commercials and everything, it's about 45 to 48 minutes. So that's great news. I mean, we're going to get just like The Sopranos or Game of Thrones, or whatever. We're going to get hour-long shows on Disney Plus for Falcon and Winter Soldier. So.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, a buddy cop type movie, Lethal Weapon type humor, going back and forth. Some of the clips have been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we got some new trailers this week.
Yeah,
which were just...
I'm not watching I watched 1 or 2 of them, but they're I think 4 came out, and I was like, no, I'm not watching that anymore because the one that I watched was so good, and I
it was
laughed.
good enough.
It was I was like, oh, I can't believe I saw that. That might be the best thing in the show.
We saw some of this in Civil War. The two of them have this uneasy chemistry between them. They don't like each other necessarily, but they also respect each other.
Yeah.
And I think that chemistry plays out very well in the show. We'll hopefully see some of that going forward. But this, like you said, the lethal weapon, buddy cop type of genre, I think it's totally going to be that. And the two of them are going to really interact together and ultimately become really good buddies, I'm sure, going forward.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. We did get another rumor that hit the wire this week was that Marvel officially released a casting announcement for Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
So we kind of anticipated this coming. At the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we see this big crypt or monolith of, kind of a something.
I think they call it a birthing pod.
Birthing pod, right?
Yeah,
something
a specialized birthing pod that she has created.
And what was the name of the golden people that were in Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Golden people.
Golden people. So they were all bred, so that the name of that race or of people, they all breed each other. They're bred to be perfect people.
Yeah.
And we saw a crypt or a birthing pod at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and everybody assumed that this, because she called it Adam. Yeah. You're my perfect creation. You're Adam, and we're like, oh, this is going to be Adam Warlock.
Adam and Eve, that type of
right.
Kind of feel.
And Adam Warlock, for those of you who don't know, is a huge character in Marvel Comics. Huge character when it comes to the Infinity Saga and everything else that we've seen in the past. But he is just a massive character in the comic books. So we've all been waiting for this character to come,
right.
And we have felt that at some point in time,
Guardians was the place to kind of launch him.
Well, and this was somebody that could potentially carry on the Guardians of the Galaxy beyond the current cast. James Gunn has come out and said that the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie is the last movie with the cast in its current form. And so if they are going to recast some of those characters or have a new version of the Guardians, that Adam Warlock could be somebody that would either lead that team or be a key member.
So could Nova possibly? Nova, one of my favorite superheroes?
Nova, Quasar. I mean, there's a million characters they could bring in, and we're hoping that that's the case.
Like the Avengers, they need to evolve those characters, so it's time.
So, but the fact that they're casting for that particular role is cool. And so that tells me that sometime James Gunn is finishing up his press and everything else for Suicide Squad. I believe they're planning on they're going to start filming that movie early or sometime later this year. Yep. So that role will be cast within the next 3 or 4 months.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. We also got some announcements from Kevin Feige around the schedule for Disney Plus shows. So we understand that they're just finishing up Ms. Marvel. That has been filmed. Most of it already has, and they're completing that right now.
Post-production, yep.
So that's going to be released this fall. We know that that's coming in the September-October timeframe. That's going to follow on after Loki, and we get Shang-Chi in the fall. That is the show on Disney Plus that will precede the Eternals movie that comes out.
Yes.
So we'll see that show and its entirety of its run prior to the Eternals movie coming out in the fall. Then we'll get the Eternals. And then after that, I believe we're supposed to get Hawkeye, which is filming up. They're finishing up filming right now of Hawkeye as well.
Yeah, they're still filming that one.
Yeah. Right? So we're going to get... There's 2 shows that are basically almost done, and they're going to be finished before the next couple of months. And we're going to get both of those shows before the end of the year, which is fantastic. I think Hawkeye is going to be the show that brings us into 2022, and that's just going to be that show that leaps us into the next year in the movies that are on slate for next year.
And also set the stage for the Young Avengers.
Let's hope.
Yeah,
let's hope. But we also did hear from him that She-Hulk and Moon Knight are going to begin filming shortly. And this is huge news. This is exciting news that they're going to start filming those shows here in the next couple of months. So this tells me that Marvel already has these shows that are on the slate for the next several months already beginning production. They're going to be complete this year.
Yeah.
And so She-Hulk and Moon Knight are scheduled to come out in 2022. The fact that they're on schedule with filming is awesome news.
Yes.
It's just fantastic.
No more delays. Hopefully everything is back on schedule. They also said that Black Widow will be in theaters May. That's what Marvel came out and said. I mean,
great. You and I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it.
I think that was the CEO of Disney said that.
Yeah,
he said we have no preconceived notion of putting this on Disney Plus. This will be in theaters in May as scheduled.
You and I will be there, so I'm not concerned.
I hope so.
And then we got some news this week, another rumor that so Kevin Feige announced at Comic-Con 2019. Again, we didn't have a Comic-Con last year because of COVID-19, but in 2019, he did. This is right after Disney had acquired the rights to the Fox properties, and they announced that they were planning the Fantastic Four movie, which we know is in pre-production right now. And he did mention at the end of his press conference, and we didn't even have time to talk about mutants. So we did hear a rumor this week that the first X-Men movie that's going to be in the MCU is going to be titled The Mutants. And it's going to be a very generic show about mutants in the MCU, following Mortimer Taggart, who is a huge character in the comic books when it regards the X-Men, and Charles Xavier,
nice.
And how they meet each other and how they kind of recognize their mutations, and they find or look for other people who are mutants as well, form a team, and then we might get an X-Men movie after that. So, huge rumor that got released this week about their plans for mutants in the MCU.
That's great news. I mean, they're starting the ball rolling. And I believe the mutants, that's what Stan Lee originally wanted to call the X-Men, correct?
Yes.
That's cool.
And, they went with X-Men because it was a much more marketable name.
Sounds cool as shit.
Yeah, it does, and has been for years. And the Mutants being a name of a movie really kind of says, we're not thinking about the X-Men as a team or the X-Men as a concept right now. We're focusing on establishing mutants in the MCU as potential reasons why these individuals have powers or enhanced abilities or whatever it might be. I think it's just cool news. I mean, the fact that they're even talking about it and thinking about it right now, we've seen the schedule for the next, 2.5 years for the most part. Mm-hmm. There's nothing on the schedule about this movie right now, but the fact that they're already talking about it means that in 2024, 2025, we're going to get something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It's around the corner.
And there's rumors that we're going to get the first thoughts about mutants in the MCU out of Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's going to set the stage for some of that. We don't know. There's a lot of assumptions out there, but I think some of these Disney Plus shows over the next year and a half are going to, and I think the Eternals movie especially is going to really establish mutants and how they can be here on Earth and how they came about from the beginning. I think that movie is really going to set the stage, and maybe the delay. I mean, people forget we were supposed to get that Eternals movie last fall.
Yeah,
that was November of last year. That movie's been done filming for over a year now, and we were going to get that movie last fall. And I think they're holding back on some of those announcements and some of those things about mutants because they know Eternals is so important to that in the MCU.
That's great. And I know in the Falcon and Winter Soldier in the comics, the city that they talk about, Madripoor, is that what the...
Madripoor.
Yeah, I'm going to butcher it, so Professor, don't even try to teach me it. But it's a big mutant city, right? A big mutant hideout.
Well, think of Singapore, but it's a different city. But it is a Far Eastern city where a lot of mutants have either hid from whatever trouble is following them around. So Wolverine, the second edition of the Wolverine comics, really started and stayed in Madripoor for a number of months. Was run by a villain. Her name was Tiger. She kind of ran the entire city, more of like an Asian mob type of thing. It was just fantastic show. Fantastic books,
So we know that's going to be in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. We don't know if it's going to stay true to the comics and the comic book lines, but we know that city from the comics is in there, and it has heavy ties to mutants.
Absolutely does. So that'll be great.
Very cool.
All right, well, that's the news and reviews for this week. Let's get into this week's topic of the week. It's the topic of the week that everybody's been waiting for. The Titanium Smokeshow Rankings.
Smoke shows.
So
let's get into them.
Titanium Tony is going to go through his Smoke Show rankings, and we'll talk and comment about each one of them.
Professor, please feel free to jump in anytime. But I will say the Superhero Studs, I'm going to start with the Superhero Studs. That was a collective grouping from a lot of female fans, female listeners,
but this is your wheelhouse. Why did you need input?
I tell you. I needed input. So what
Let's start with the honorable mentions.
Yeah, what I did was I came up with a huge list and narrowed it down and put a couple of people in honorable mentions, and then I have
a top 10.
A top 10. And to be honest with you, is number one the number one? With the Superhero Studs, I don't know. It's subjective, right? But it is what it is. And you know what? If you disagree, comment.
Right.
Let us know.
Let us know. Especially you ladies out there that are listening to the show. We know we have some female listeners.
There's like 3.
But please comment, let us know who we missed or what we got wrong, because, Titanium, especially when it comes to the Superhero Studs, is definitely...
I don't know. I think I got pretty good.
Okay,
I think I hit it pretty good. I don't know, but we'll see.
Let's go through the honorable mentions first.
Honorable mentions. We got Chris Pratt, Star-Lord from the Guardians of the Galaxy, as an honorable mention. It was tough to put him in there because he's a good-looking dude. But yeah, he's the first honorable mention.
I mean, anybody who watched Chris Pratt on Community, right? That was the show.
You
would
would never think he was a stud.
This guy was, kind of a pudgy, overweight guy on Community, funny as hell. I mean, that's why he was on that show, and frankly, why he got the part for Guardians, because he was so funny. But the guy literally went to a boot camp, like Accelerate, and just transformed his body for Guardians of the Galaxy, and he is he's ripped now, and
good-looking dude.
Yeah, good-looking guy, and funny as hell.
Schwarzenegger's daughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not doing too bad. Second honorable mention, and this was tough, Hugh Jackman, who played the Wolverine for years, and voted one of the most beautiful people by People Magazine, but honorable mention on my list.
Yeah, he's. I know he's up there on a lot of ladies' lists.
Yeah.
10 years ago, probably would have been number one on a lot of ladies' lists. He's not a young spring chicken anymore, but the guy is. I mean, what he did to transform his body for the role of Wolverine in every movie that he was in is astounding. Yeah. This guy, literally in his mid to late 40s, was ripped to shreds, which is just amazing. And
kept it for years for that look for all those movies.
And played that role so well. Literally, he was...
I'm going to miss him.
He was so good. I remember back in the early 2000s, was it like 2000 when X-Men movie first came out? When they cast him, everybody was like, Hugh Jackman? Who the heck is Hugh Jackman? Why are you
Broadway
some Australian guy? Who the hell is this? And literally now we're talking 20 years later about Hugh Jackman and what he did to that role and the respect that he paid it and everything he did to make it his own was just awesome. And the guy is, like I said,
phenomenal,
handsome. He's incredibly talented. If you guys have watched the movie Les Mis or seen him on Broadway, the guy is an amazing talent.
The showman, he set the bar so high you need a pole vault to get over it.
Right.
Next to honorable mention, and I had to put my boy on here, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man.
I'm sure he's going to be happy you consider him a superhero stud.
Hey, he was on a couple of lists from some of the ladies that I talked to, believe it or not. Not very far up there, but he was on their top 10 list. I put him as an honorable mention.
And I think, from a stud perspective, he's there. He's nowhere in line with some of the guys on your top 10. But what I'll tell you is what he did for the MCU, nobody could have ever imagined.
He kickstarted it.
I mean, we could have never imagined that he would have been as successful as he was at the time in his career, especially.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
another pole vault. The bar was set so high you needed it.
And every movie he was in was just awesome.
Yeah,
so it's great. Okay.
Let's start.
You're going to go to 10 to 1, right?
Let's go. I'm going to go to 10 to 1. I'll read it backwards here. Right. At number 10, we have Aaron Taylor Johnson, who played Quicksilver. He's kind of a fan favorite in the younger crowd.
Yeah.
I got a lot of college. Some of the college girls sent me their list, and
he's a handsome man. He's definitely a handsome man, and he's definitely in shape. And he's been in a number of other movies. He was in the original Godzilla movie.
Yeah,
just the guy's
good actor.
He's a good actor, handsome guy. Absolutely, I totally see it.
See him leave the MCU.
Yeah, too early for sure.
At number 9, I have Aquaman, Jason Momoa.
I'm surprised he's as low on your list as he is.
So is my wife. I might have to sleep on the couch after she hears this, but he was up there on her list, and I put him at number 9.
It's so funny to think the first time we saw him in Game of Thrones, and he was such a despicable character when he was first introduced, just because he didn't know any better, and then he became so beloved by the audience and by Khaleesi, right, as the show went on, and then he ends up landing the role of Aquaman, and a super cool dude. I mean, you listen to everybody that's ever worked with him, all the people that were in the Justice League with him. They're just like, this is the greatest guy, the funniest guy, this is the most genuine guy, and the guy's ripped to shreds and just a handsome man. And I mean, I totally get it. But I'm shocked that he's number 9 on
number
your
9. Number 8, Taylor Kitsch. He played Gambit.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I wouldn't have put him, but the ladies love this guy.
Yeah, he was originally in Friday Night Lights. That's where he got his fame.
Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights played... Oh God, what the heck was the name of his character?
One of the football players, right?
One of the football players. I'll think of it.
He'll always
Johnny
be
something. Johnny something.
He's always Gambit to me. He'll always be Gambit.
But he super stud guy. I mean, just long hair, blue eyes, just good
looking kid.
Good looking kid, and he was in that movie. What was it? John something about going to Mars, where the guy that goes to Mars.
Yeah, John something from Mars.
What the heck was it?
Good movie.
It was a great movie. I really liked it.
So did I.
But it got canned.
It got destroyed
by the critics.
John something from Mars.
I'll think of it. I'll think of while you're.
It was a Disney movie too.
Yeah, it's a Disney movie.
Great movie. It was a sleeper.
Yeah, I loved that movie. I thought it was great.
We've never even talked about that movie, and that's another movie on our list that we both really enjoyed. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 7, Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger. I mean, the dude's a stud.
He was named People's Most Beautiful, one of the most beautiful people by People magazine a couple of years ago. Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Phenomenal actor. Again, another actor got his start in Friday Night Lights as well. He was in Friday Night Lights, the TV show. Ended up getting some parts in some other movies. Really took that Killmonger role and just made it his own. Owned it. Superstar was great in the Rocky Balboa and Creed movie. Yep. Just fantastic in that.
Ripped, shredded.
Yeah, and again, he was in. He's played 2 characters. You said Killmonger, but people forget he also played
we're not
Johnny Storm in the reboot of the Fantastic Four movie.
I didn't even put that in his credits.
But he's definitely a stud. He's another great guy too, from what I hear.
And we both think that he could probably reprise the Black Panther role, but we'll see. At number 6, I have Chris Evans, Captain America himself. This was high on almost everybody's list, believe it or not. So he's at number 6, Chris Evans, Captain America. Good looking guy. And he's at 6.
He's, we first got exposed to him through his role as Johnny Storm in the first version of Fantastic Four. Thought he played that role really well.
That was great.
Did a great job there.
I thought it was awesome.
And then when we heard he got cast as Captain America, we're like, that's a little strange. It's a little odd. He didn't seem to be the kind of and the guy has become a superstar, superstar since he's taken. And again, the guy ripped, big dude, just and handsome guy. Yeah, I totally get it. And again, my sister thinks he's like number 1. So yeah, I get it.
I'm sorry, I have him at 6, but
John Carter, by the way, I looked it up.
John Carter, yes, John Carter from Mars. Great movie if you haven't checked that out. That's a good movie. So 6, Chris Evans. At 5, Henry Cavill, Mr. Superman.
One of my favorites. Stuff. I mean, I love Henry Cavill.
Gorgeous
everything.
Man.
Yeah,
he's an absolute gorgeous man.
And another guy, and you've seen this as a common thread through all these guys. When they take these roles on, they take them seriously. And a lot of these guys on this list, I could say the same thing. Chris Evans, Michael B. Jordan, Henry Cavill for sure. When they take these roles on, when Henry Cavill was cast as Superman, he's a big dude. He's not, I would say, tall. He's probably only 6'1", 6'2". He's a big dude, but he's like, I'm going to play Superman. I'm going to get ripped to shreds. And they basically threw down iron and just said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to become the most ripped big dude I can. And Henry Cavill did that. And that Man of Steel movie, the first one, he was legit. He was a legit Superman in that movie. And
they had to take out some of the padding in the outfit, the Superman outfit,
because he was too big.
He was too big.
He was so big.
He wasn't too big, but they didn't need.
They didn't need it. He was already ripped.
Like the guy that plays Shazam. What's it?
Zach Levi.
Zach Levi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fake as shit.
Yeah. We were like, Zachary Levi playing Shazam. Yeah, that's all padding. But Henry Cavill is he's Number 5. Big dude. And if you've never watched The Witcher on Netflix, go watch that show. What a great show.
Yeah, it's a great show.
And he's fantastic in that role as well.
I watched that show. That's awesome. The Witcher. Yep, he's The Witcher. At number 4, Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal. Mysterio in the Spider-Man movies. I did not have him on my list originally, to believe it or not. But there were so many lists that I got from people that had him at number 2.
Look,
believe it or not,
dark hair, blue eyes, got the faux beard. He's got and jawline. I mean,
great actor.
He's been in some incredible movies. That
Brokeback Mountain.
Well, I wouldn't call that an incredible movie, but
he won an award for it, right?
I think he was nominated for an Oscar for that movie for sure. But he's been in some really good. What was the movie about him?
Night Stalker.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a creepy movie that was.
Great movie.
Love and the something drugs, Love and Other Drugs. What a great movie that was. I mean, he's had some great acting roles. But yeah, I mean, the guy's a stud. Yeah.
Dreamy eyes. That's what I've heard. Number 3, Chris Hemsworth. Thor. Chris Hemsworth, Thor himself.
Relative unknown, cast in this role. Nobody knew who the heck he was. That first movie, you go back and watch it. Look at his hair, this blonde hair that was just kind of weird. But he really kind of morphed into, and what he did in that movie was, can he be Thor? Yes. He did a great job of representing who that character was in the comic books, which all I wanted as a fan was just somebody that can kind of bring validity to the role. But the guy, again, he's skinny but ripped at the same time, and he's just, and this is another guy that overworks himself in the gym to say, look, if I'm going to play this role, and that was so funny about Endgame when he ended up being Fat Thor. They actually had to put a fat suit on this guy because he's ripped to shreds in real life. But that was
hilarious.
There's a number of women I know that he is up there on their list for sure.
Yeah, good looking dude, and really has grown with the character. And as Thor changes throughout the years, he's kind of done a great job.
Well, and what they've done recently is made the comedian in him come out in his role, because he is a funny guy in real life, and he was such a theatric Shakespearean kind of role that they wanted him to be from the comic books. And then they're like, hey, in the later movies, we're just going to let him be the funny guy that he is, and it was great.
At number 3. At number 2, Sebastian Stan. Now, a lot of you are going to say, Sebastian Stan, really? Number 2? I can't tell you how many lists I got where he was number 1. And Jake was number 2. So I couldn't ignore that, as I was putting the list together. I mean, as I was putting these lists together, he was number 1 on a lot of lists. And I'm probably going to get some feedback saying, I can't believe you put him in number 2.
Right.
But I had to make a call.
Good looking again. Soldier. Dark hair, guys, great shape, good looking dude. Yeah. And again, I was first exposed to him. There was a show on NBC with Ian McShane. I can't remember the name of the show where he was on, and first time I'd ever seen him, I'm like, this guy's a good actor and good looking kid, and then he ends up getting the Winter Soldier part, and he's great in the role. Good looking dude. Yeah, no doubt.
I have him at number 2, and at number 1, dun dun dun. Number 1, I have Ryan Reynolds, the Green Lantern, and
Deadpool.
Yep. Ryan Reynolds. I mean, how can he not be number 1? To be honest with you, people, I mean, I didn't have to converse with the ladies on this one. This is my own personal feeling. if I could be anybody and snap my fingers with,
be married to Blake Lively the next day,
If I had the Infinity Gauntlet on, that snap, that's who I would be.
Look, the guy has one of the best personalities, one of the best sense of humor in the world.
Yeah, actor.
Great actor. He's ripped. He's a good looking guy. He's the total package. And the fact that Marvel, when they acquired the Fox properties, decided to keep him on as Deadpool and said, we're going to ride this train as long as we can because we know Ryan Reynolds is a star. That says it all. I mean, the guy is he's awesome, and he's dreamy.
Deadpool. He has absolutely owned Deadpool, and hopefully we get a lot more of him as Deadpool in the future. But that's my list right there, people. Right. Let's get on to the...
hang on.
Okay.
I do have one you missed.
Okay, shoot.
And the ladies are going to kill you for it.
Okay, shoot.
How is Brad Pitt not on your list?
Okay, so... Brad Pitt.
How is Brad Pitt not on your list?
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't even think of him.
No, you didn't.
He played the invisible guy in the Deadpool
2.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know,
and you know what, because when I was creating these lists, I had some kind of rules. They couldn't be too young, especially for guys.
Brad Pitt's not too young.
No, but it would be kind of creepy. Some of the younger guys that I was getting from some of the high school girls, and I was like, you know what, I can't put that on my list.
Right.
But Brad Pitt, I didn't think of it. Here's another one. Bradley Cooper and
because he plays the voice of Rocket, and Vin Diesel,
they're
the voice of Groot, right?
But they're just voices,
right.
So I had to eliminate them because.
But Bradley
Cooper would be on the list for sure.
But Brad Pitt was.
He was. You're right.
In Deadpool 2, he had literally a 5-second cameo in the movie. He played an invisible person on X-Force that Deadpool put together.
He jumped into some electrical
wires.
wires.
Into the electrical wires, and then you see Brad Pitt's face, because he's good friends with Ryan Reynolds in real life, and that's how he got him into the movie.
That's funny.
But that's why I said, did you not have Brad Pitt on there?
I did not have it. His second as a superhero, I did not have on there. But
I did toss that on.
That's a good catch.
All right.
But yeah, again, Bradley Cooper would be on there, but I had to put some rules in. So let's get to the smoke shows, shall we?
So first, let's go over who's not eligible. So you have a list of individuals who,
not all of them, but
could not make your list because they're not technically superheroes.
Yeah, and one of them killed me. Like one of them hurt physically.
Well, and I'll get into that, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I had to make certain, and I had a list literally of 32 smoke shows. I mean, I had 32,
and you had to narrow it down to top 10.
I had to narrow it down. It was brutal. Like it was very hard. So one of the things I had put in there was like Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel. If they just did voiceovers, they couldn't be in there.
Right.
If they weren't really a superhero, like part of the team or a superhero.
Okay, I get it.
If they were, doctor like Jennifer Connelly, which just absolutely killed me.
So she's one of your not eligible.
Not eligible. She was
even
Dr.
though
Betty
I
Ross.
would argue with you that she is eligible because she played the suit lady in Spider-Man: Homecoming. She was the voice of Spider-Man's suit.
Yes, but a voice. See, that's Bradley Cooper. Can't
so
just
the
be a
voiceover
voice.
alone. Yeah, but to you and I've discussed this. Jennifer Connelly is.
If there was a way I could put her on the list, she would be on the list.
She's in the top 10 of women who have been in superhero movies,
yeah.
Without question, right?
Blake Lively, another one. She played Carol Ferris in Green Lantern, and Haley Atwell plays Agent Carter in Captain America. Now, those were.
And there's a couple other ones. Emily Van Camp was in
Sharon Carter.
She's Sharon Carter. She's a
smoke show,
and she'll be in Falcon and Winter Soldier as well.
Yes.
So she is,
but not a superhero.
Not a super. And
right?
Colby Smulders plays Maria Hill, another smoke show.
I told you, I went through these. It was very hard.
Yeah, she's another one. But not eligible because they're not superheroes.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So I have a couple of honorable mentions. Let's get into those. Jessica Alba, she plays Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four.
Was in the original Fantastic Four movies.
One.
She's honorable mention. Jessica Alba is a smoke show.
No question. A little bit older now, but still up there. Another honorable mention is Jennifer Gardner, Electra. Kind of a little bit older.
Gardner. Not with a D.
Gardner.
No D. Gardner.
Electra. How about that? Electra is on there. Total Smoke Show. And Brie Larson, Captain Marvel herself. Honorable mention. It was tough to put her in the honorable mention. I
She's a smoke show, but she's a little...
Yeah, a little. I'm not a huge fan
the activism, I mean, she rubs a lot of people the wrong way in real life,
Especially Don Cheadle does not like
Oh, there's so many people that don't
And then
like
you've added some... I had such a long... And another one, Halle Berry, was an honorable mention.
I cannot believe Halle Berry is not in your top 10, Titanium. Okay, listen. So I'm going to say this. Halle Berry is one of the most beautiful people that was ever created on the earth. Okay, literally, if you don't believe me, go back and watch the movie from 1989 or whatever, Boomerang with Eddie Murphy.
It's getting hot in here, people.
She is one of the most beautiful people that's ever been created. Literally, Halle Berry should be in your top 10. The fact she's not is a travesty. I'm just saying. And I don't care the fact that she's 50 years old now and all this other stuff, but she, like, top to bottom, is just, she's...
I had a list of
32. I get it. There's people you have on your list.
Minka Kelly from the Titans that plays the dove.
Minka Kelly is gorgeous. Another one.
I know.
Kind of dated Derek Jeter for a while. She's a smoke show
Connor
too.
Leslie, the Wonder Girl. I mean... All of these gorgeous women, I had to narrow it down.
Uma Thurman's another one you said. How do you?
Alicia Silverstone played back. I mean, the list went on and on. I'm telling you.
Okay, so let's get into the top 10 then.
All right, at number 10, Olivia Munn. She played Psylocke in Age of Apocalypse, the X-Men Apocalypse. Smoke show. I believe she dated the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. If you ever want to know how hot she really is, go watch Magic Mike.
Oh, come on. That's silly.
She is a smoke show for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you. This one I put in here, and I had a hard time not putting somebody else in here. But Jennifer Lawrence, who played Mystique in the X-Men, she's a smoke show, no question. But I struggled with her because there's so many. There were so many. Jennifer Lawrence. I have her at number 9. At number 8, Zoe Saldana, who plays Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy.
She was in Avatar. Really became famous because of that. Her role in that movie.
Great actress.
But she is just a beautiful person. Like, you just look at her bone structure, look at her. I mean, she is just a beautiful person.
Yeah.
Even with green makeup on, she's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
She's
Star-Lord thinks so.
Yeah.
Right. And she's number 8. At number 7, Evangeline Lilly, the Wasp.
Just has that look. I don't know what about it. I don't know what it is about her. Ever since she was in Lost, the TV show.
Lost did it for me. That's when
she was just super.
It's probably one of the
cute.
reasons why I watched Lost.
And then the whole the Hobbit movies that she was in, where she played the elf in the Hobbit movies.
Yep.
I mean, she's just got that smile
Those
and
eyes.
that look. It just, I don't know what it is about it. And
Gorgeous.
she's a tiny person, just not the most incredible body in the world, but she is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Total smoke show. I have her at 7. At 6, Elizabeth Olsen. And I struggled with Elizabeth Olsen too. But I put her in there because she's very relevant right now. And some of the pictures that I was pulling up on my computer, by the way, I had to delete my browser history several times.
Do you have safe search on when you're looking these pictures up?
Yeah, you DuckDuckGo. And I had to delete my browser history several times looking at some of the pictures. But Elizabeth Olsen, I think, is an absolute smoke show.
She's very pretty. She's, as you mentioned, very relevant right now with WandaVision. I think she's going to be a staple in the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward.
They built that arc to say so, yeah.
And I think she's very cute and very pretty, but in no way is she hotter than Halle Berry. But anyway, go ahead.
Somebody's got a torch burning for Halle Berry. At number 5, Natalie Portman. And this was hard.
She's not a superhero.
I kind of bent the rules.
She's
on
not a
this one.
superhero.
Okay, but we know she's going to be...
She's not a superhero.
The mighty Thor in Thor Love and Thunder.
You think she is?
No, I know.
Do you know that for a fact?
Well, that's why she made my...
Okay, so you're making assumptions.
I'm making assumptions.
All right.
And
it's Titanium's list, so what are we going to do?
Yeah, I mean, she's a total smoke show. So she's at number 5. At number 4, Anne Hathaway. She played Catwoman. Girl Next Door. looks just gorgeous.
I'm going to tell you, she started her career with these kind of, tween movies, the Princess Diaries and all these other things, and she played this innocent, kind of, cute little girl, and then all of a sudden she just got hot. I don't know what happened. Is that all of a sudden she just grew up and got really, 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 and just
we grow up, they grow up.
Yeah, right. But she is the total package. She's absolutely gorgeous. I completely agree with you there.
Great actress.
Oh,
phenomenal actress.
Oscar winner.
Oh, phenomenal actress, and has the looks to back it up. Just one of my favorites. I have her at number 4. At number 3, I have Margot Robbie.
Yeah, she is just. If you look up
Harley Quinn.
If you did a search, and I'm sure you deleted this history on your computer, but if you did a search on your computer for hottest women in the world, she has to be up there in like one of the top results that would come up. I mean, she is literally
hello.
I mean, just blonde, this incredible smile, incredible personality, just an incredibly beautiful person. There's no question.
And not a bad actress, too. She played Harley Quinn. I did not like Birds of Prey. I thought it was a little clunky, but she was great in it. She's just easy to look at, right?
Yeah, she's a pretty girl.
I have her at number 3. At number 2, Scarlett Jo. Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow herself. Now, come on. Of course she's number 2. She's a total smoke show, total package. She has, like some of the characters we've talked about, like Hugh Jackman and Robert Downey Jr., she has set the bar so high for that character. I can't think of anybody else.
Well, and that's what I appreciate. When she was first introduced as that character in Iron Man 2, I didn't get the casting, but she's played that role just perfectly ever since.
Yeah.
And, I felt at the time they're just casting a pretty face for this role, and they did at that time, but she really has just done that role justice. And to your point, she's just, again, just a very beautiful person.
Smoke show.
Yeah.
She's an absolute smoke show. And at number 1, this should come as no surprise. I've said it before. If you listen to any of our episodes before, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, she is the top smoke show.
I mean, when we saw her in Fast and the Furious, I think it was Fast and the Furious 3 or 4, one of those movies. I mean, she was just incredibly beautiful then. And then all of a sudden she gets this Wonder Woman role, and you're like, okay, really? You're going to cast her as Wonder Woman? And she owned it.
Yeah.
She owned it, and she is just
phenomenal.
Has to be literally one of the most beautiful women on the planet.
Absolutely.
Without question. She is a smoke show. The definition of smoke show is her.
Yeah.
My wife, we're watching the first Wonder Woman movie, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe how beautiful she is.
Yeah.
She is so beautiful. And literally, when women are complimenting other women on how beautiful they are, they're hot. Because, yes, that's the definition of hot.
She's number 1, and she's the number 1 smoke show. On my list and in my heart, Professor.
For sure. So
absolutely.
Let me give you a couple you missed.
All right, shoot.
Rebecca Romaine Stamos.
I had her.
Okay, so listen. You got to go back to...
She played Mystique.
Played Mystique in the original X-Men movie.
Mm-hmm.
So she was a supermodel, Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, supermodel at the time.
Yeah.
So she wore the skin outfit of Mystique before Jennifer Lawrence ever did, and
which was completely different because when she wore that, it was literally like stickers and pasties. It was all body paint.
They basically put pasties on her body parts and
Yes.
then painted the rest of her body with blue paint.
Yes.
And if you go back and watch that movie, and you want to ask it how hot Rebecca Romaine Stamos was back in the day, oh my Lord.
Smoke show.
She is, and literally she's probably pushing 50 at this point in time. But back when the X-Men movie came out 20 years ago, she was as big a smoke show as you can ever imagine, and played the role great and was just incredibly hot in that movie. So that's one you missed. And then you and I have talked about this before. Michelle Pfeiffer, I mean... Look, Michelle Pfeiffer is in her 50s. But back when Batman 2,
when she played Catwoman.
Oh my God, And recently in Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, right? So she's back in the MCU.
Beautiful older lady.
But she's
older, when I say older, my age. But,
but she's one of the most beautiful people in the world as well.
Yeah, she's
right,
gorgeous.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, great list, Titanium. I think you did well. You know, you respected the men and the women there. So I think we'll get some feedback.
I want to talk smoke shows. Did I leave somebody off from your list? Is there some contention? Do you want to go? Because I'll fight if you want. Just leave me a comment. Talk to me.
Yeah, give us your rankings. Tell us who we missed. Tell us who was out off the list or who was on the list who shouldn't be there. Yeah, definitely give us some feedback.
Absolutely, feedback. That's what we're looking for. Okay.
We have any listener questions this week?
We don't. Not this week.
All right,
Professor.
Well, so next week we've got a big show. We've got the Justice League Snyder Cut coming out this week, so we'll do a full review of that.
Yes.
It's a 4-hour movie. Hopefully we'll just touch on the points that we learned, the new things that happened, and all the stuff that's different, and how we felt about the new cut versus the original movie. We'll go through Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 1, which we're super excited about. That's going to be fantastic.
That should be the show right there. That's going to take up a lot of our time.
It's going to take a lot of our time, but that's next week. But this week, that's it for us. We'll be back next week for more Super Talk, so get in touch with us on social media. Hit us up via email, supertalkpodcast@outlook.com, or @supertalkpod on Twitter. Until then, stay super, everyone.
And we're out. Nice. 55 minutes. I like it.
Thanks again, YouTube.
YouTubers. Hey, fist bump me. God damn it. Love
Didn't
it.
see you. My mic was in the way.
Perfect. That was good. Let me turn this on.
Kept it under an hour this week.